Hi everyone! So today I'm doing another tag, and this tag is called the first and last tag, and the whole idea of it is to talk about the first and the last of a few different things that I have read or watched, but mainly all about books. First of all, I want to give a special thanks to Katie at KatsukiWriter24 for tagging me. I really appreciate it, and I am very interested and excited to do this tag and to share it with all of you. Hope you guys will enjoy this, and here I go! So the first question is, what was the first video you uploaded? And my first video that I uploaded was a review of Wake by Lisa McMahon, and that was a book that I read, and I looked at reviews and I didn't see a lot of them on BookTube, and then I looked at Goodreads and a lot of the reviews weren't very good of it, and I was like, I don't agree with this. So then I promptly got on to YouTube and made a video and started my channel. So please check out that video if you have any interest in young adult books, especially ones to do with dreams. The second part of this question has to do with what was the last video I uploaded. And the last video I uploaded was my book review of Adventures of the Imagination, which included two books. The first was The Alchemist, and the second book was Cirque du Freak, A Living Nightmare. Both were children's books. They were very good. I hope you check out the review, and I actually really enjoyed doing that review. The second question is, what was the first booktuber I watched and the last booktuber I watched? The first booktuber I watched was Priscilla from The Readable, and her videos are really great. She's super consistent in what she says and how she acts, and she's really professional, and I just enjoy the content. She always has something really smart and interesting to say, and I hope you guys check her out. I will include a link below. The other booktuber I really enjoy and who got me into doing booktubing was Kat from Katie-tastic, and her energy and excitement for books is just amazing. She also has a lot of really intelligent things to say about books, and I just love watching her videos. They always make me happy and like, you know, a little ray of sunshine in the day. The last booktuber I watched was the August book haul by Reagan from Pursuits Project. Not quite sure I got that right, but yeah, I will also include a link below. She's awesome. She always has a lot of energy, and she just seems really cool. Yeah. The third question is, what was the first book I remember buying? And the first book I remember buying is probably Harry Potter when I was a child, much as some of you possibly, although some of you are a little bit younger. But anyways, I found out about Harry Potter when I was in elementary school, and as soon as I read the first book, I was hooked, and I would wait every single year. It'd come out like every year, and you would go the night of, like you'd either pre-order or you'd get there really early in the morning and you'd pick up your book, and then you'd spend that whole day reading it, and then it would be done with, and you would think it was amazing, and then you would have to wait a whole nother year. I just loved reading Harry Potter, and I'm pretty sure that was the first book I bought. The last book I bought was actually two different books. I bought them at the same time. So the first is The Fifth Way by Rick Yancey, and the second is The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling, and I have not read these books. They are on my TBR list, which you can check out in my August book haul video, but I am really excited to read both, and I can't wait to review them. The fourth question is, which book do I remember first reading on my own? And the first book I read on my own were probably a series of books that basically lived behind me in 3rd or 4th grade. So what I mean is, I would sit in classrooms in 3rd or 4th grade, I don't remember which grade, and there was a bookshelf kind of behind me, and it had a whole bunch of these books that were fairly short, but they had stories with pictures in them. They weren't picture books, they were more story books, but they did have pictures. Anyways, I would kind of pay attention in class, kind of not, and I'd sit there and I'd grab a book and I'd read it and I'd put it back and I'd grab another one, and I don't know if anyone noticed or if they even cared, but I loved reading those books. I don't even know what they're called. But the first book I remember reading on my own that was like a real book was The Giver, and that is actually still to this day my favorite book. And that book is so wonderful. If you have not read that book, there is no excuse not to read it. It is just, it is so awesome, and amazing ideas and just concepts that are, they're adult concepts that Lois Lowry was able to translate into a children's book so that not only can adults think about these sorts of things, but children can think about what society means, what, being aware of things means. Just overall, like, you have to read the book to understand it, but it really just gives this new perspective on society and just being alive, honestly. Yeah. The last book I read was The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness, and that book was pretty awesome, although it wasn't as awesome as I thought it was going to be because people were raving about it. I think the big drawback for me was the ending and also just how much went wrong in that book. Like, something bad was always happening to the main character, and I felt like that at a certain point you reach a moment in which you just can't take anymore and you need a little break. So, I mean, that can be a really good thing too, and maybe it's just because I read it all in one go, but yeah, that was a little harder to read. So the first dystopian I read was, I was gonna say The Hunger Games, and I even have my copy of Mockingjay, which is the third book in The Hunger Games. But I just realized, actually, the first dystopian I read was The Giver. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. So, yeah, it's a dystopian because it's a society. I need to read the second and third and fourth book. I'm not sure if it's like after civilization or it's while civilization is happening. It's just kind of on the outside of it, but it's definitely a dystopian. And again, my favorite book. And the last dystopian I read was The Knife of Never Letting Go. A little bit repetitive in the answers, but I can't help it. So yeah, again, thumbs up for that book. The first paranormal romance I read may very well have been Twilight, and I honestly read it before it was popular. Like, when I picked it up, no one had ever heard of it, and I looked at the cover and the description, and this was way before vampires and werewolves and all that stuff were big. So at the time I was like, this is really cool, and I was like 15. Looking back on it, I don't regret reading it all. I really loved it at the time. Obviously, in my opinion, if I read it again, probably would be far different. And I can't stand the movies. I didn't even bother watching past like half the first one, but I'm not one of those people that's like, Twilight hater, so yeah. And the last paranormal romance I read was Unearthly by Cynthia Hand. I filmed a review of that. I hope you check it out. It was a pretty good book, a pretty good paranormal romance. And I'm assuming it's a paranormal romance because even though it deals with angels, I consider them paranormal. We're on to question number 7. So this one is about what books make you cry. What was the first book that made me cry? And honestly, I don't freaking know. I don't remember because I don't read a lot of books that make me cry. And that is not because I'm not the sort of person that will not cry, because I am. Rather, I just don't like sad books, so I don't read them, and therefore avoid crying altogether. But I did read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green because everyone was raving about it. I knew going in I was going to be like, this book is going to make me sad. I'm really not going to like that part of it. But I read it anyways. I enjoyed it, but honestly, the sadness of it kind of made it, I almost wish I didn't read it. I don't know. I'm really undecided about that book. Alright, moving on to question number 8. So this question is about completed series. The first series I completed, honestly, was probably The Lord of the Rings. I wanted to say Harry Potter, but the last Harry Potter book came out, I think, a little bit later. Like, I started the Harry Potter series beforehand, but because how long the series actually is, I think I finished it afterwards. But I'm pretty sure I read The Lord of the Rings in the 6th grade and loved it. I remember, like, being late for class because I started reading it, and then I, like, didn't realize the bell rang, and I looked up and I was like, 15-20 minutes late for class with no good excuse. So such such is the life of a reader. And the last series I completed, I was a little bit unsure about this. My problem is I don't complete series very well. I have Mockingjay. I have not finished it. I have read maybe 50 pages. I can't bring myself to end series. I read all of Harry Potter, but it's something sad always happens at the end, and if something sad doesn't happen, it's usually a bad ending. I don't know. The last series I finished was the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series by Stieg Larsson, and obviously this series was meant to keep going, but Stieg Larsson died, I think even before it was published into the mainstream and became popular. So sadly there are no more of these books, which are just absolutely amazing, although the first 100 or so pages of this book are really slow, so don't be deterred by that. But yeah, I love that series, and I think that was the last one I completed. And now for question number 9. So this question is about books I can't finish, and there are a lot of them. If I don't like a book and I get bored, I will just put it down. I've been a lot better about that because I'm trying to review these books for you guys and let you know if I don't like a book so that you don't go out and buy a book that looks really pretty that's not actually that great. So, but the first book I can remember not finishing, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a lot of them. I remember of Mice and Men. I tend to pick up a lot of classics and start reading them and then not finish them. I felt like, yeah, I'm going to read a classic and this will make me really smart and really cool, and then it didn't happen. But the last book I couldn't finish, it's a little tie-up. I didn't finish Delirium. I still have to read that. There's a couple other ones I just right smack dab in the middle, but the one I picked was Ink by Amanda Sun, and this book is beautiful looking, and the description about this girl going to Japan and these writing in ink and it turning into different things, it just sounded so cool. And then I read the book, or at least half of the book, and I was teensy weensy bit bored, so I still need to finish that one. Finally, question number 10, who will be the first person I tag and the last person I tag? And the first person I'm going to tag is Booksteps. Now, Booksteps is awesome. You should check out her videos. I will include a link below, and I like her. She's a cool girl, and she has some great videos. The second person I'm going to tag, and I guess the last person I'm going to tag, is Rachel, which is Miss Bookish Beauty, and I will also put her channel below. She is really cool. She has some great thoughts, and not only does she like young adult fiction, but she also likes some adult fiction, and I think that's important. So please check out those channels, and you are now tagged, so enjoy. Yeah. And that is my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know what you thought, what your answers to those questions are. If you'd like to do this tag, you are more than welcome. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Bye, guys.